But another minister who was busy this Tuesday in the National Assembly is that to do with agriculture, irrigation and water development. That is Professor Peter Mwanza, who told the House that this year's farm input subsidy program will not be affected by the current fuel shortages being experienced across the country. Professor Mwanza made the assurances when he was presenting a ministerial statement to update members on the progress made so far. Professor Mwanza delivered a ministerial statement in the National Assembly. Let's just get a sample of what the Agriculture Minister told the National Assembly Tuesday.
Fertilizer uplift to the ADMARC and smallholder revolving fund markets, retail markets, commenced on 25 September 2011 after awarding contracts to transporters. We have experienced unavoidable delays in lifting fertilizers to the retail markets due to fuel shortage. However, government has put in place measures to curb this challenge by designating some fuel stations in Mzuzu, Lilongwe and Blantyre to exclusively service the FISP transporters. Secondly, government has approached Irish Aid and DFID, who have responded positively to support the purchase of 1.1 million litres of fuel, which is adequate to ferry all the remaining fertilizers to the retail outlets. The funds are being made available to the government within last week and this week. I wish to commend our cooperating partners for their generosity. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, sir, the coupon distribution and input sales program was launched on 10th October 2011 in Zomba District, following which the Ministry held series of briefing meetings across the country with various stakeholders, including ADMARC and SFFRFM officials on the implementation of the program. Among other things, the meetings aimed at briefing all sales clerks on main features of the coupons and how to identify them. Sir, allow me to report to this House that this year, the Ministry, in collaboration with cooperating partners, has enhanced the security features of the coupons to mitigate fraud. Let me further report that the coupon delivery and distribution to beneficiaries is already through in all districts. District reports indicate that this year's coupon distribution has gone on smoothly as planned. Mr. Speaker, sir, my ministry continues to monitor the FISP rigorously on a regular basis. We have noted isolated malpractices, which include overcharging by some sales clerks in markets and other corrupt practices. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, sir, the Ministry, in collaboration with stakeholders, has, however, put in place several corrective measures, including intensifying campaigns through all available fronts, including both print and electronic media, on encouraging communities to report any malpractice, including corrupt practice, to the Malawi police, confiscate coupons from those who are not eligible, and many more. It is pleasing to note, Mr. First Deputy Speaker, sir, that because of the various corrective measures put in place, the police have been able to apprehend some perpetrators of these frauds, and the SCB have used tips from the public to investigate some of the perpetrators. I wish to appeal to the general public to continue reporting any malpractice to appropriate authorities, including the Malawi police and the SCB.
Part of a 20 or so minute long statement delivered in the House by the Minister responsible for Agriculture, Irrigation and Water Development. The main issue was the farm input subsidy program. The Minister there is saying that it is on track. But the membership of the House, most of the members, especially on the opposition, quizzed the Minister saying, why can you say that it's on track, yet we have fuel shortages in the problem? What's your take, Ayam?
Well, I would like to believe that maybe members, when they're looking at, when they're talking about thinking that it will be disrupted by fuel shortages because of what is happening in urban areas. But I mean, it's important to state here that this year, the Farm Input Subsidy Program, the process started much earlier than it started last year. They actually started a month early.
A month before,
and if you were able to move around, I was able to move around some districts. We were able to establish that at least distribution of the coupons themselves is through. Whereas last year, at this point in time, they were still distributing. So you can see those changes. And also, if you talk about the stocks of fertilizer and seed, so many of the selling outlets that are selling, that is ADMAC and other selling points, are quite well stocked at this point in time, apart maybe from a few that are quite very far off. But we also heard from the minister that they've actually made special arrangements to make sure that there are some fuel stations that are designated solely for this purpose, that transporters will have to be moving towards those fuel stations, fill up and then transport the fertilizer and the seed wherever it is wanted. In fact, they started early because they were saying that they were trying to address the challenges that have been there in the past couple of years, where each time when the rain season starts, some roads become impassable.
Yeah, this is why they wanted to go ahead of the rains.
Exactly. So I honestly, from what I have seen myself, I'm talking from what I have seen when I've been able to move around, I think really most of the areas are well quite stocked. And if you are talking about the issue of the program getting disrupted because of lack of fuel, I think maybe we may have maybe some isolated places, because obviously you cannot expect that really the system will be that watertight. There may be some other challenge that will crop up. But maybe let's look at the issue of fraud. Of coupons themselves. That was there for quite some recent years.
And it was also raised, by the members immediately after that ministerial statement, saying that what is it that, the minister is doing so far? Yeah, the issue of fraud, really, they've come up with let's start looking at the way the selection itself of beneficiaries was done. This actually was done through what they were calling open public forums in the communities. This is where they were actually sitting together in the communities. That is the chief and that's the village head with the rest of the people. And then the villagers themselves would decide who do they think is actually in need of the farm inputs this time around. And the registration process was happening right there in full view of everyone. So there was nothing like actually the village head coming with his own set of list of people written down and offering it. No, the village itself was participating in the process, deciding amongst themselves who in this village is eligible to actually benefit from this program this year. And also, when you go to the selling points themselves, you see that this time around they've come up with a system that actually means that only a village head will actually go together with his own people. It means if in one particular village you have 20 people that are supposed to benefit, these 20 people, before they buy the fertilizer or the seed, they're supposed to be accompanied to this selling point by the village head for identification. So you have a line of people, and then in front of them, their village head. And they have a register to say this is village so and so, and in this village we have 20 people, and then they call out the names. And then each one of them will be responding to their names. And the village head has to also do another identification to make sure that these are the actual beneficiaries. There is nobody who is sneaked into the line. I actually was at one selling point where I see this happening for the rest of the day. I really should say I was quite very impressed. Yeah, okay. There are a lot of issues indeed that came out in the National Assembly after the presentation of a ministerial statement by the Minister of Agriculture, Irrigation and Water Development, that is Professor Peter Mwanza.